It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Hey, good morning. Welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News on this, the 9th day of June, 2020. Welcome one and welcome all. Couple things to hit on real quick before we get to the news of the day. And of course, we are going to be talking about the MSC schedule, which has been released from now until 2021. I've also got several other stories to look at. But just literally within the last hour, Cunard has extended the suspension of cruising for departures up to and including November 1st for the Queen Mary II and the Queen Victoria, and until November 23rd for the Queen Elizabeth. So that was actually just literally within the last hour or so. Greetings to everyone, especially if you're new to this channel. We do this on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday mornings at 11 o'clock, where we talk about news in all facets of the travel and cruise industry, and any number of things, including the weather. As you know, the last couple of days we've talked about the tropical storm that hit New Orleans and pretty much followed straight up the way to up to Chicago and up in the Great Lakes. And now it was interestingly that the Cristobal, which has of course been downgraded now to, I don't know what it's considered now, but still a storm. Lots of rain, lots of wind. But as it's moved up, there was a western storm coming over, and it's formed some kind of a cyclone system or something, which means that there's going to be some more severe weather across the northern plains, Great Lakes area today and tomorrow. So we're still having plenty of trouble from Cristobal up there. So anyway, the other thing, I'm going to give everybody fair warning this morning. The cats are out and prowling and wild. So don't be surprised if one of them plops down on the computer. Yesterday, I was trying to send, Pete had a guest on his show yesterday, and I was in the audience, and I was trying to send him a message just to say greetings to he and his guest, Jonathan. And right in the middle of typing it, one of the cats jumped on the keyboard and was chasing my fingers around as I tried to type. And you're talking about screwing up a message. That did it. So I will try to keep the cat off the keyboard that I use to control this program, but there's no guarantees because they're wild today. All right. Before we get to MSC, a word from Scoot Around. Do you have a bad back, bad hips, bad knees, or any other mobility issues? Think about Scoot Around. For scooters, walkers, wheelchairs, even oxygen needs, delivered right to your cabin. Scoot Around for all your mobility needs on your upcoming cruise. All right, nice little uplifting music here. Oh, did I do that? How did I get that back into that? Oh, I've got hold on here. What am I doing? Okay, there we go. Little technical issue there, folks. I ended up with two things going up first. I did not intend to do that. Sorry about that. Sorry about that delay there. I was actually going to jump over to comments, and as I did, I was getting the end of the commercial again, so that was strange. All right, hello to everybody. Before we get started, Jason Garland's here from up in Pittsburgh, of course. Jason, good to see you. Gretchen's here. Gretchen, by the way, happy belated birthday. I was hoping to see you Sunday on our show from London. I was going to wish you a happy birthday, but you were out celebrating your birthday. You don't want to mess with us. I understand. But anyway, happy birthday a day or so late. Amy says she's on time on her 60. It's your birthday too. Today's Amy's birthday. Well, happy birthday to Amy. So Gretchen and Amy both had birthdays this week. So happy birthday, ladies. Glad to hear it. Jason says, gosh, I'm so young for this channel. Yeah, right. That's okay. We just like Emma lets old folks in her group over there in England. The cruising isn't just for old folks. No, cruising, whatever the hell her name is, cruising isn't just for. Yeah, cruising isn't just for old folks. Anyway, I'm not thinking this morning. Jason, we welcome all ages. We're we're wide open here. Nikki says, happy birthday to the June babies. Yes, indeed. Tom Henry, where are you? Jason says, haven't seen Tom yet this morning. Oh, wait, Tom had something to do today. What did he have? Was he traveling today, man? I don't know. I can't keep up with Tom and his crazy schedule. Emily's here from New York. Good morning to me and Cottonelle and Sharman. And yeah, they were just in here just before I went on the air, and they took off like a bolt of lightning. So who knows? They might be back. Cruises for solos. There's Pete. Good afternoon, everybody. That's afternoon over there for him. That's pushing evening, actually. It's still morning here for us, Pete. Anyway, this chats are going on like normal. So let's get on to a couple of stories here this morning. And quite frankly, folks, there's no really major news for a change, which is kind of nice. But MSC did release their new schedule, and it does have a couple significant changes in it. They've released the schedule through November 21st, 2021, actually, which includes a new to them homeport in Florida. The line also pushed back their return to sail date to August the 1st. So they've come in line with everybody else. They were still scheduled a little bit earlier. And of course, like I say, Cunard is backed up a couple months now, out just in this morning. So who knows how much, if any, effect that's going to have on other cruise lines. We still don't know. Currently, things are looking like starting on the 1st for the majors of August on the majors, but we don't know that for sure. But anyway, back to MSC. The Meraviglia will continue to sail from Miami, offering 7-night cruises departing on Saturdays. The Armonia will continue to depart from Miami, sailing a new 3- and 4-night getaway cruises that depart on Mondays and Fridays. And for the first time, the MSC Divina will begin sailing from Port Canaveral, offering a mix of 3-, 4-, and 7-night cruises departing on Sundays and Thursdays. Of course, one of the other major factors that will involve those three is the new Island Ocean Key, which got open just before we had the shutdown. We have a few visitors that have been in there, but it was, it came along with bad timing. That will be a major factor in all of the MSC cruises for the remainder of 2020 and 21. The island itself is located 64 miles from Miami, surrounded by 64 square miles of marine reserve, giving visitors a unique opportunity to discover local marine life and soak up the spirit of the Bahamian culture. So I have not been to Ocean Key yet. I'm looking forward to that. And the other thing that we knew and had not been specifically announced was that the MSC Seaside will be moving back to Europe sometime at the end of, I think they're still scheduled. I think the Seaside still has a schedule through the first part of the year before it goes back to Europe. So That's MSC's schedule for the upcoming period. They have become a not quite equal to the big three, but clearly up, getting close to Disney now as the number 4 cruise line in the States. Again, it's European style cruising. It's a little bit different cruising than you're used to if you were a Carnival guy like Jason and me, or you're a Princess guy like Bonnie, or even a Norwegian guy like Tom. It's a little different cruising. It's quite a shock to the system from what we're used to, as I understand it. I've not been on an MSC ship. That was one of the things I'd hoped to do this fall before we had all this mess. So I'm going primarily from what I've learned from my friend Emma with the cruising isn't just for old folks. And she loves it. So I'm going to give it a try. So that's MSC. Okay. A little bit of a bad note. I guess you'd call it Grand Turks. Turks and Caicos Island is not planning to reopen to cruise ships until the end of September, and still depending on what health authorities say. With the focus now shifting towards resuming cruise operation for many cruise lines, it also depends on when cruise ports reopen. Grand Turk, of course, is popular for Carnival, and the island that is part of Turks and Caicos. So they're shut down at least into the fall. So Carnival's 8 ships that were scheduled to resume sailings on the 1st of August. Most of them had planned calls on Grand Turks, and so that's going to be dead. So those itineraries are going to have to change. Who knows? It's still, there's so many things that are still up in the air with how and when we're going to get back to normal. Nobody has a real answer yet. We're just going to have to see. I'm probably, again, after our show Sunday from London with Dan Crutchfield, I'm maybe a little more positive on us starting sooner rather than later for the majors. Of course, we know that Bahama Paradise is planning on starting the end of June, and currently that is still in the works. And we do know that at least one river cruise has sailed in Europe. There hasn't been any new sailings that I know of. There's a couple that are planning on it. The Sea Breeze was anyway. The couple of ships are going to Norway, which will sail later on this month. So, again, on the balance, the good with the bad is, you got some stuff sailing, and then Cunard, which is Queen Mary, Queen Mary II, Queen Elizabeth, Queen Victoria, they're shut down until November. So it's just hard to keep track of it, and hard to really have any good guess as to what is going on. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about Norwegian. Of course, that's Tom Henry's favorite cruise line. They released a look at what cruising is going to look like when they get started. They had passed on some information to many of their customers and staff folks. They talked about buffets. They talked about social distancing. They talked about muster drills. So those are some of the major things that are going to be changing. Sales officer Katina Athanasiou, or something like that, I probably pronounced it wrong, saying that NCL would implement staggered embarkation times, advanced online check-in, and they will essentially see guests preserving an arrival time. So you're not going to be standing in line. You're going to get there and go straight through. So that's one of the ways that they're going to work on keeping the social distancing going. If theoretically, if people arrive at their assigned time and take advantage of the ability to check in online in advance, she said that they would be able to breeze through from terminal right to on board. That would eliminate a lot of standing in line and elbowing people and all that. At least for the foreseeable future, NCL and presumably the other major cruise lines will sail at reduced capacity. The second part of this, she said, is them reducing the capacity on all our public areas throughout the voyage. So the whole social distancing thing is going to be continued throughout. One of the questions was asked was, were masks going to be required? What type of protective gear would be needed, and who would be required to wear it? That was an area that Derek Lloyd, Canada's National Director of Sales for NCL, admitted that that's still up in the air. And he said, obviously, we might be a requirement today to have the masks worn, but in 60 days, 90 days, or 6 months' time, that might change. So it's one of those things that could evolve as they start. Don't be surprised if people are going to be required to wear masks going on to the ship, and you will see crew and team members wearing protective clothing as well. Further on the buffet idea, they're basically eliminating the buffet as it's known in the past. The same space will be used in a buffet-like a meal, only it's going to be served. There will be no more self-service food. They will have staff there to serve it. So that's going to be Norwegian's change in the buffet area. And again, the social distancing of lines and stuff they're going to attempt to keep it as they continue. One of the other major areas was the muster drill. As most of you know that have cruised regularly, it is a requirement on the first hour or so before you sail to have the muster drill, where you go and you find out where your life jacket is and where the lifeboat is should there be an accident, and how to get off and all that business. Those of us that have sailed a lot, find it the most boring thing in the world, but a lot of the cruises require it. So, we have no choice but to go through that. But so one of the things, because that's, a whole mass of people all right together in a small amount of space, they were asked what the protocols would be. And apparently they're still being hammered out, not only by the CDC, but also making sure that they comply with the International Convention of Safety of Life at Sea, which is another group of guidelines that cruise ships have to follow. Asked directly if they knew when ships would welcome passengers again, the folks from Norwegian said that the short answer is, we don't know. So they're waiting for final guidance from CDC, as well as from upper echelon of Norwegian, as they decide what is going to happen. So interestingly enough, from the folks at Norwegian, there's clearly going to be some changes, and they're pretty much what we've expected, what we've heard from. It started off with Genting over there in Asia, and then again from our friends in Bahamas Paradise Cruise, and those that have publicly stated, what's going to be going on. all these changes are pretty consistent across the board. And of course, the cleaning procedures. I didn't even mention those, but all the cleaning procedures are, they were always really good. But I mean, they're talking about 10 times more cleaning and sterilization and all that constantly. So I am less concerned about the physical apparatus of a cruise ship. I am more concerned with the fact that a person can get on that cruise ship and become sick. And the first 5 days before they might even have noticed that they're sick or shown any signs of it is when they are most susceptible to passing that virus on. That's, again, my biggest concern. I'm not so concerned about the physical plant. I'm not that much concerned about them coming up with all the rules and regulations to maintain that safety. I'm still concerned with if we have a widespread of the COVID-19 in not only our country, but in other countries and ports of call, that somebody could be seated right near you in a restaurant and 4 or 5 days from now they become sick, you still could be infected. That's the part that still bothers me the most. That's just my thinking on it. That doesn't mean I'm not going to cruise, folks, but that's the thing that bothers me more than anything else. All right, one other thing this morning has to do with Royal Caribbean. Have you booked a Royal Caribbean cruise recently? They are offering up to 45% off everything from drink packages to shore excursions. So from now until June 11th, you can save on extras on Royal Caribbean cruises that sail from August 1st through March 31st. If you currently don't have a Royal Caribbean cruise booked, they're currently offering a buy one, get second guest at 60% off, and kids sail free on select sailings. A beverage package is up to 45% off, shore excursions 40% off, internet 65% off, specialty dining up to 55% off, activities like, the various specialty activities that they have on board the ship or a ship's tour, stuff, all that kind of stuff, 20% off, and photo packages 40% off. So they're offering a bunch of sideline stuff that's really awesome. So that's Royal Caribbean. If you're a big Royal Caribbean person, go on and book a cruise. One of the things that Dan Crutchfield said Sunday, the time to book a cruise is right now. He does not necessarily see that prices are going to go down. I've been a little concerned that I keep seeing prices ticking up. And he said, he thinks prices are going to continue to go up. So if you're shopping for a cruise or you're talking to a cruise counselor or somebody in the know that's going to help you book a cruise, if you find something you want to do, book it. If it ends up getting canceled out, you're going to get your money back. Go on and book it. So that's the best advice that I'm aware of right now. So this week, I asked one thing that I asked was Gavin Phillips. Gavin Phillips is one of the bloggers over there in Europe. Holidays at Sea is the name of his blog. He lives in Milford Haven in Great Britain. And I asked Gavin about his favorite cruise ship, and he and his partner Luke, they both like the Queen Mary 2, QM2. That's their favorite. That was, we had this the other day. Who was Jonathan? Liked the Queen Mary too as well. I have never sailed on the QM2. I've never been on it. So there's another on my bucket list. I need to do a canard cruise just so I know what that's all about. So the other one, Andy Shell is a lawyer down in Naples, Florida. And I asked him about his favorite ports of call. And boy, he gave me an answer that's a head scratcher as far as I'm concerned. He has two. One is Quebec City, which Quebec is a lovely city in Canada. I've been there numerous times. And his other is Curacao, which of course is one of the ABC islands in the Southern Caribbean. You're talking about two distinctly different ports of call, Quebec City and Curacao, but those are Andy's favorites. Thank you, Andy, for that. We do appreciate your thoughts. So that's our talking to some folks for the day. All right. Let's see here. We need to get back to check on my chat and see whatever is going on over here. Let me go back to where I was. Gretchen says it's going to be 93 today. Wow. Pete says it's back to normal in England. They've been on a hot spell for 2 months now. It's back to normal, sun and showers after 2 months of sunshine. Hope it's okay in the States. Thankfully, this time around, we didn't get hit with any of the storm stuff yesterday. We could get some tonight, possibly during the afternoon. We could have some storms today. We're supposed to get over the next 48 hours, get some rain. And Pete says, happy birthday to the girls. Yes, we've wished everybody happy birthday. Emily's got to take off to do something with her mom. Sorry, Emily. We'll catch you on a replay. Jason says 93. That's in Pittsburgh. Nice to see Carnival Valor in Southampton. Love that ship. I love the Valor too. And yeah, that was nice. And I can't remember who it was that posted videos, but there was a bunch of videos of the Valor getting to Southampton yesterday. That was pretty cool. Amy was on the Meraviglia last year in February out of Rome, and it is different, but I loved it. But I love them all. Amy, me too. I've never been on a bad cruise. Just, I love them. Yeah. Anyway, so my favorite cruise is always the one I'm on, and I agree with that completely. October 4 is a go. Jason, I've come to at least get past 50-50 on your October 4 cruise. I'm leaning in your direction now, where before I was leaning the other way, thinking it was probably going to be closer to the first of the year. I don't know about the airlines yet. Although, they're talking the right game, but we'll see. I also don't know what all the next couple of weeks are going to be very telling from all the protests that have gone on this week, and my heartfelt thoughts to all the people involved with the protesting, literally worldwide. But anyway, my thoughts with all those folks. But because of those humongous masses of people in close proximity, what's that going to do to the whole COVID thing? Is that going to cause spikes? Jason says, Amy, what was your last cruise? And Amy came back and said the Sky Princess in late January was her last one. anyway, let's see what happens from, after we need about 14 days to see if there's not spikes like crazy all over the place. And that's going to give us a lot more comfort and whether or not we can cruise safely, fly safely. There was an interesting piece on one of the business channels this morning that right now the automobile is the safest place to travel because you have control of what you do. You don't have control with who might sit near you on an airplane. You don't have control who you're going to be close to on a cruise ship. Those are things that we always took for granted in the past. That's now something that needs to at least be on our thought process as far as where we're going to be and who we're going to be with. So it was an interesting piece on traveling by automobile is the safest way to go right now because you've got control over who you're with. Oddly enough, all you people out there that have been, group driving together for going to work and stuff, that's now a no-no, I guess, because you're not supposed to have all that many people in a car, I guess. But anyway, times are a-changing. Pete says, maybe cruises should bring back the mask ball. Wouldn't that be something? Yeah, if you got masks now, you could easily do that. Turn that into a mask ball. Nikki says, I thought I recognized that area code. We used to live in Squirrel Hill. Nikki, you used to live in Squirrel Hill? I used to live right across the river from you. I spent almost 20 years up in Munhall Gardens, up above Homestead. So I worked for a company that was based in Squirrel Hill. I know Squirrel Hill well. I'd still rather go to Squirrel Hill in Pittsburgh and get bagels than any place in the world. And I've had bagels from a lot of places. Anyway, so Nikki, there's another Pittsburgh person. So Jason's in Pittsburgh. Nikki's been in Pittsburgh. I've been in Pittsburgh. Emily says all these changes will be for everyone's health and safety measures. Yeah, absolutely. I think Carnival stock, that's an interesting point, Jason. He thinks Carnival stock will be around 40 in 2 days. I tell you what, I follow the stock market and I have stocks. I absolutely am baffled at what cruise stocks and airline stocks have been doing. I mean, yeah, there's hope that we're going to get back to normal, but man, there's nothing definite yet. There's nothing that says these companies are going to be able to make money yet. And the stocks have gone bonkers. Of course, they've taken a licking, but anyway, Jason says, am I cleaning my desk? No, the cats take care of that. They do. They bat everything around like crazy. So I'm surprised they have. I hear my sister and brother-in-law are out and about now, so the cats are probably in there chasing them around. Jason asked Nikki what was her last cruise, and I don't know if she got that answer. I haven't seen that answer yet. Cindy, hey Cindy, good to see you. I'll be checking on specials on my cruise in October, Brilliance of the Sea. That's right. You have scheduled on Brilliance of the Sea in October, and I'm telling you, again, this is no guarantee yet by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm leaning much closer to saying I think you guys are going to go now than I have been. I could be wrong, but time will tell. But I'm leaning that way. Haven't seen Bonnie this morning. She's not been feeling real well. A little worried about Bonnie at times. Let's see. Gretchen still trying to talk hubby into it. as soon as I can talk hubby into going and I get the money back from Princess, we'll book another cruise. And Nikki says, through the Panama Canal on Emerald Princess, got to Fort Lauderdale on March 15th. Boy, you got in just under the gun. My goodness. That's Panama Canal. It's all the cruises I've done over the years. I've never gone through the canal. That's another one that's on my list of things to do. So, of course, I got more things on my list than I'll ever be able to do at my age, but that's neither here nor there. So, all right, guys, you guys continue to talk as long as you want. Oh, we've got somebody new, Rosie Shoemaker. Rosie says hello. Hi, Rosie. Welcome to our craziness. As you can tell, there's and there Tom Henry popped in too. So Tom did make it today. You know, we're asking about you earlier, Tom. Anyway, welcome, Rosie. We do this on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday mornings. If you've not been here before, talk about all facets of the travel and cruise industry. And then, as you can tell, these guys get together and do a lot of chatting back and forth. I try to go over as much of it as I can. And of course, I do go over all the comments after the fact, and I be able to relax a little bit. Grosie's from Gulfport, Mississippi. Oh, okay. So we got somebody from Mississippi. Welcome aboard. I hope you got through your weather down there the last couple of days. Looked a little nasty on the Gulf Coast, but it's, you know, you guys have had some of that in the past. So anyway, you guys that are scheduled for October on cruises, again, I'm getting close. I'm getting close to coming your way and saying, okay, guys, I think you're going to go. I'm leaning that way heavily. By the way, I haven't mentioned Sunday's show other than that we had a great show again. Those of you that are new, I co-host a show with Pete and John on Sundays from London on Cruises for Solos. The three of us are solo cruisers. And we had another just outstanding guest Sunday. Who's just a well-read, well-knowledged person that has been in the agency side, travel agent side of cruising for years. Was an awesome guest. I'm actually working on getting a guest for our show this coming Sunday. And I feel that because this past week specifically was weighted heavily on U.S. and U.S. cruises, because the travel agent in Europe and a travel agent in the States, there's no crossover. They're kind of separate worlds. But because this was all heavily U.S., which is fine for John and I because we live in the States, of course. But Pete's over there. He talks funny and is over on the other side of the pond. And probably 60, maybe 70% of our audience is European or, that part of the world. We get some into Africa. We get some into Asia. But still, a healthy percentage of the audience would be closer to European cruising than to U.S. cruising. So what I'm trying to do is trying to get a similar person to our guest this past week, who Dan was so good, but I'm trying to find a Dan equal in Europe so we can look at the European perspective on cruising and when things are going to get rolling over there. Although they have at least cracked the apple, so to speak, with the first river cruise actually sailing now. So, but anyway, I'm still working on that. So hopefully by Thursday, we'll have a handle on a guest for Sunday with Pete and John over there in London. And of course, as always, folks, you guys are more than welcome to join us. And our guests have been so good on that show. It's just been phenomenal. So, all right, that's it for me today. As always, folks, I appreciate a thumbs up. Tina Turtle back there in the background likes the thumbs up. You can give me thumbs down. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But that lets YouTube know that you guys are here. If you've not subscribed to this channel, as always, I appreciate you subscribing because we do not only this show, we also have Chillie Chats when I can interview anybody in the world in the cruise and travel industry. And I also post videos on various facets of the travel and cruise industry, especially when I've been on a cruise myself, which I haven't been able to do for a while. So that's it for me for today. You guys stay safe. Wear your mask, please, when you go out. Stay safe. Keep everyone safe and your family and friends and so forth. Stay healthy. And we'll talk to you on Thursday unless something major happens and I see you beforehand. So this is the Fat Travel Guy. Later, y'all.
Thank you for watching today's travel and cruise industry news. Join us every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern for another episode. Travel and Cruise Industry News is a production of Chillie's Cruises.